Well, hello and welcome to today's topic. We're going to be reviewing on how to add and subtract polynomials. So let's just go through and review a few of our vocabulary words. The first one we're going to talk about, when you're adding and subtracting, you do need to be sure that you recognize what your like terms are. Now remember, your like terms is you've got exactly the same variables raised to the same power on there. So an example, the following here would all be like terms. You've got an x, 4x, negative 2x, and 7x. And they all contain the variable x. Another example would be 8y squared, just y squared, maybe a negative 2y squared. So those would all be like terms. What would not be like terms is if you had something like 2x squared plus 3x, then those are not like terms. So you cannot put those together. Another example might be if you had something like x squared y, and then you had an xy. And those, again, would not be like terms on there, because in this case, your variable on your x here is to the first, where on the other one it is to the second. So again, when you are doing adding and subtracting, you have to just add the like terms. The other thing that we need to remember to do all the time is we always write our answer in what we call descending order. That means we're going to take it from the highest degree to the lowest degree, and we talked about degree in the last video. The other thing to remember is that if you have a constant, what I mean by that is that would be like a number 3. That would be considered a constant. It actually has a value of degree 0. And again, that was mentioned in the last video, because remember, x to the 0 is 1, and then that would be, again, 3. So that is always going to be your last or your lowest degree that we have. Okay, so let's just do some examples here real quick for you. So in this case, if I am adding and I need to recognize my like terms, I have an x3 here and I have an x3 there. And so what I need to do is look at my coefficients, and I just add those together. So this would be 6x cubed. And then I have an x squared and an x squared. So I, again, add my coefficients. I have 2 and 5. That makes 7x squared. And again, now those are in descending order because it's an x3 and then an x2. Now, suggestion on when you subtract, okay? One of the things that I would suggest that you do is always rewrite when you're doing a subtraction, and be sure that you carry that negative here through to both terms that are inside your parenthesis. And then from there, do your like terms. So I have x4s. So that's 4 minus 6 would be a negative 2, x4. Then I see an x3. So that would be 5x3, because that's the only one I have. And I only have one x squared. So that would be a negative 3x squared. And again, now it's in descending order. And so when I'm going and I'm adding those, I usually look for my highest power, my highest degree, and I put those together, and then I just kind of go down the row in terms of my degree. The other thing that if you're not going to rewrite, as I showed you on number 2, the other thing is to always be sure that you add the opposite. And when I do that, a lot of times I will circle my sign so that I know what my sign, excuse me, what my sign is that goes with my number. And then go through and find your like terms. So in this case, I have x4s. So that is 3 minus 7, which would be a negative 4x4. And then I have an x2, and that's the only one I have, so that's plus 6x squared. And the only thing left is my 6 and my 4, and that's a plus 4, which would be 10. So again, those would be my suggestions on when you're doing addition and subtraction. So I'll go ahead and run through these. You might try to do them yourself and then make sure you are doing them correctly as I do them. So I would probably pause and do it real quick and then double check. So this would be 8a to the fourth. And then I have a negative a to the third. If you want to put a 1 there, you can, but remember that's not necessary. There's no a squareds. And then I have a negative a, okay, 2 minus 3. On this one, again, I would definitely go through and change the signs. So I have x4, or n4s would be my highest power, so that's 2 minus 8 would be a negative 6. I have n squareds, I have the n, or n cubes, I have the n cube and the positive 2n cubed, which would give me 3. Squareds, I have the 7n squared and the plus n squared, that would give me 8. Whoops. Oh, my marker, or my pen just quit on me. So that would give me 8n squared. So be sure that you also record that, even though I did not get it written because my iPad pen quit. So I'll go ahead and stop this video here, but you will continue on with the homework at the end.